Angus Macfayden, does that name mean anything to you? He was the second lead character in the film Braveheart. He portrayed Robert the Bruce. Well, Angus Macfayden is now in a film called Robert the Bruce, where he continues the story of Braveheart where it left off. And guess what? The film trailer is out today, and I'm going to be reviewing that in today's episode. Maybe you need your memory jogged. Have a look at this.
But from top to bottom, this country has got no sense of itself. My hate will die with you.
Hello everybody, how are you doing? And welcome to today's episode of the vlog. My name is Shaun and I'm a YouTuber from Edinburgh in Scotland. Right here on my channel, I talk all about Scottish culture, and over the last year we've been talking about Scotgasm, which has been this real interest of people from around the world in Scotland thanks to series like Outlander, big TV productions, and films as well. We had the Avengers film in here, then we had the Mary Queen of Scots film and Outlaw King, which was about Robert the Bruce as well, on Netflix. And now we have Robert the Bruce, starring Angus Macfayden of Braveheart. It's all getting a wee bit confusing, guys, but listen, I am here for you, and that's what we're talking about in today's episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. It's great to have you here. It's great to talk to you, as always, about all these things. And if you're new to the channel, please don't forget, you need to hit the red subscribe button down in the bottom corner, and then you will join this amazing community. Let's talk about Braveheart. Let's talk about Robert the Bruce, and let's talk about Angus Macfayden, because I first heard about this over a year ago, right? I was approached by one of the cast members and they wanted some kind of voice quotes from a Scotsman, who could kind of show them the ropes. I think they were from the States. Now, unfortunately, at that time, I wasn't in Scotland. I was actually in Brazil, so I could not help them with that, right? But I didn't really know if they were joking or not, because from some of the description I got, it kind of seemed like it was a really super low budget film, maybe something that might not even happen at all. But actually, here it is, and it's actually being released in just a couple of weeks' time, the 23rd of June 2019, Robert the Bruce, a brand new adaptation of the character, which is twice in just a year. Braveheart, the film, was a massive mega phenomenon around the world of kind of exploring this theme of the Scottish battles of independence. Braveheart obviously focused on William Wallace, one of the great heroes of the Scotland story, right? Obviously, Braveheart was not historically accurate whatsoever, but as it turns out, people from around the world loved the story nonetheless. Robert the Bruce in that story, yes, he was a kind of big character as well, but he wasn't always painted in the best light in that film, although acted very well by Angus Macfayden. It will be interesting to see how they've adapted this character going forward, because they have a reference point. As I said, there has been a Robert the Bruce adaptation out this year already. Netflix put a lot of money and effort and resources into their very own portrayal of this character, starring Chris Pine as Robert the Bruce, and we've talked about this on my channel already. And I've been told as well that Outlaw King, the first film of Netflix about that character, Chris Pine, is potentially going to be a 2 or 3 part series, because of course in Outlaw King they missed out one of the major battles, which was the Battle of Bannockburn, one of the great victories of Scotland in the battles of independence. What about this sequel, Robert the Bruce, starring Angus Macfayden? And before we get a look at the trailer, which is out now, let me tell you there's a couple of other interesting things I know, and mainly regarding the cast. I did get the feeling before knowing much about the film that it was going to be really ultra low budget, not really that many big names in it, but actually I think that's not really accurate at all. For example, Daniel Portman. I had no idea Daniel Portman is Scottish, right? The actor. I found out on social media just recently after watching Game of Thrones, because he is of course Podrick in Game of Thrones, right? Big character that a lot of people love, and like he puts on a really great English accent throughout Game of Thrones, so I just presumed he was English, right? But apparently he's not, he's Scottish, and he's in this film. Interesting. Anna Hutchison, Cabin in the Woods, and listen, something even more relevant to right now, what's going on. Chernobyl by HBO, also on Sky in the UK. If you've not heard about Chernobyl, this series, a 5-part mini-series that has been produced and has just finished, right? Where have you been? It's been all over the place because people have been so enamored by that story and spellbound by how they told that story, both through how they filmed it. You know, the visual storytelling was absolutely phenomenal, guys. This video is supposed to be about Robert the Bruce, but let me just give you a wee bit of a plug for Chernobyl as well, because it was phenomenal in so many ways, also because of the actors who were incredible. The lead guy in that series was played by Jared Harris.
They should put that on our money.
Who is also in this film, Robert the Bruce. So I was really surprised to see that. So good in Chernobyl. Go and check that out if you haven't, right? And the premiere is actually going to be the Edinburgh International Film Festival. I wonder if I can get myself into that. I would like to go and see it, that is for absolute sure. But the trailer has dropped, I'm very curious to check it out. So, I'm going to put my earphones on, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts.
I am Robert the Bruce.
Alright, Robert the Bruce. The King.
There's a look of war in your eyes. You really must
There he is.
learn to control your temper, Robert. It'll be your death.
That is the man of the moment for Chernobyl. Scottish scenery is just stunning, look at that.
Who breaks the head of Robert the Bruce
Alright, okay.
shall receive
Very snowy, they filmed this in winter.
of 50 gold pieces.
They're after Robert the Bruce.
Fight him to
Of
the
course they are.
death. Our king.
There's no king of mine.
No king of mine. Warring clans we can see.
This is my younger niece. That there's my boy.
I shall leave here soon.
You'll leave when you're well.
Healing me is treason in these lands.
Aye!
We'll find him here! It's our tie low!
When someone comes to kill the king, we'll have to fight.
People are after Robert the Bruce, clearly.
Have known Scotland. Clenched
Highlands.
in the grip of a mighty hand. Now we'll set her free. Is that not
Has he been killed?
fighting for?
Good accent, good. Oh, I know that castle. That is. What's that castle name?
What if our Lord side with him again?
It's the only place I recognise so far in this.
10,000 wives. 10,000
He's his love interest, that's obviously
to know our men died
his
for
wife.
something.
Isabella, is it?
The sky burns for those hearts we have loved. Do not lose hope. It is the dawn of a new day.
Yeah, Robert the Bruce. Right, so Jared Harris, as it turns out, is playing John Comyn, who is his sworn enemy, of course. We know that because it's very famous in history. They have a fight. Spoiler alert, if you've watched Outlaw King, you will already know this. Robert the Bruce kills John Comyn, so that is how Jared Harris will come to an end in this. I wonder if we're going to see the replay of that scene because it was in Outlaw King. And guess what, guys? I think this is going to be difficult to get away from Outlaw King because it was the same story told by a very good cast as well, and it was very recent, like just a couple of months ago it seems. I was at the premiere of Outlaw King right here in Edinburgh. So it's going to be difficult for me, right? It's going to be difficult for me not to compare the two. And one thing I will say about the trailer, because I did a review on my channel of the trailer of Outlaw King as well, it was very clear in the trailer what we were going to be seeing. It was this story of vengeance. They had that clearly down the line in the trailer. They were going to be telling a story of Robert the Bruce's vengeance. Whereas this trailer, it doesn't seem so clear on what the storyline is going to be other than the struggles of Robert the Bruce, which is a story that we all know about, right? He was on the run. He tried, I think, 7 times. He evaded capture and eventually reigning victorious. But from this trailer, we don't get that. Just something is different. It's a bit, I think it's like less intense than the trailer of Outlaw King for me. The Outlaw King trailer, I just remember it hitting home really hard that it was going to be tense and it was going to be the story of vengeance, right? Whereas this trailer here, I don't know, I'm not really seeing which direction they're going to take it. What Outlaw King did very well was the massive battle scenes with the thousands and thousands of soldiers on both sides coming together in these massive battles, right? And it seems from that trailer that the cast, extras and all that kind of stuff is a lot smaller and maybe they don't have the same kind of intense battle scenes as they did in Outlaw King, which was one of the things that made Outlaw King amazing, was those battle scenes. Are they going to focus more of the intimate relationship between Robert the Bruce and John Comyn and that power struggle between those clans, for example? I kind of get the feeling that that's what they're going to have to do, right? Let's face it, with a slightly smaller budget, you can't do as much with the effects. You can't do as much with the big battles because you need thousands and thousands of people for that. I'm not sure they've got that, judging by this trailer. So they might have to be telling more intimate stories of Robert the Bruce and his relationships with different characters in that set. John Comyn, for example. So you know what? I don't know. There wasn't a clear line of story that I could see from this trailer other than the struggles of Robert the Bruce. We saw him falling down in the snow lots of times, trying to get back up. I really hope that we get to see a spider in the cave scene. That would be cool. Love the music they used for the trailer. It really kind of set the scene. They used a lot of glorious scenes of the mountains, which looked like Scotland, but I couldn't identify them. That's the other thing. Outlaw King, I could identify a number of the places they used to film there, because there were a lot of them around here in Edinburgh that I just know really well. Donan Castle did make an appearance though, one of Scotland's most famous, most photographed castles, right? Very well recognisable, and I saw that in the scene, so that was cool to see. Be interesting to see what other Scottish locations they used. Maybe they used some abroad locations as well. It'd be difficult to tell from that trailer, they were not very clear. They might release another trailer, but I suspect they won't. It'll just be right into the film because it's right around the corner. I'm going to keep an open mind about this, guys, right? You can't really judge a film by the trailer, and just remember, history tells us this. Smaller budgets don't necessarily mean bad films. Some of the best films of all times, Danny Boyle's for example, came from smaller budgets and were just so good because of the direction. And speaking of the director, Richard Gray, I really don't know much about him, right? Where has he come from? What's he done? He's actually from Australia. Films include Abandoned, which has been announced but not actually done yet, Broken Go, Sugar Mountain, Cold War, The Lookalike. I don't know any of these films. Literally not one of them I have seen. That says more about me than it does of anything else, to be fair. But you know what? I can't judge a book by its cover on this, and I don't think anyone should. I think we should watch this because Braveheart was such a great film, right? And Angus Macfayden was such a great actor in that film. So it's obviously been like 20-something years since Braveheart, right? A lot of time has passed, but there was a big story of Robert the Bruce that was untold from Braveheart that needs to be done justice. And I think this might be an opportunity to do that. I'm very curious, I'm very excited. Scotland is just so on trend right now. There are so many films. Like I said, I've done a lot of reviews on this channel about the Scottish films that have come out over the last few years. Series like Outlander have done so much for Scotland, has really transformed our image. So many people coming from around the world to Scotland, and that's kind of rolled on with other massive Hollywood productions coming here. And next year, we're also going to be getting a Lord of the Rings series, the biggest budget series ever, shot and filmed right here in Scotland. So that's going to be interesting as well. Just a lot's going on in terms of filming right here, especially in Edinburgh. It's very exciting, right? And this will add to it, I hope. And I'm excited to see the actual film because, like I said, the cast is good. It's a solid cast. But guys, listen, I would love to know what you think about the trailer. Let me know your thoughts about this. How do you think it will shape up? And in terms of how Robert the Bruce was portrayed in Outlaw King, it's going to be difficult and impossible, I would say, not to make comparisons of the two, especially as Outlaw King is potentially not finished yet. What did you think of Angus Macfayden's portrayal as Robert the Bruce first time round? You know what, it's just fascinating. I'm just putting my arms up and saying, bring it on. I'm excited to watch this, and it will be what it will be, right? But as always, I would love to know your thoughts down below in the comments. That was my review of the trailer for Braveheart, no. That was my review of the trailer for Robert the Bruce, the brand new film coming out this month. Thank you so much for watching. It's been great to speak to you as always. And until the next adventure, I hope you have a good night, morning, evening, afternoon, or whatever time of day it is, wherever you are in the world. Take care.